Void Interactive as of late have been doing some great community engagement, and this past Ask Me Anything hosted on the Ready or Not NDA Discord server is great evidence of that fact. Today, I'm going to do my best to condense down the AMA to some of its most important parts. Friend of the channel and Discord member AGI.exe alerted me to the fact that after the AMA was over, there was actually an after-party AMA as well, so we'll be covering some content from that too. I'll provide some feedback with things I like and some things I'm not so much a fan of. Anyways, let's jump right in. For starters, a whole new police station and lobby is confirmed and in the works. A huge pull for the new station is that it will feature a new PvP shoot house area, meant as Void's tentative steps in seeing how players interact in a PvP-centric area. Void stated that while this area is being made, it is 100% not their focus, and they want to really dive in on the single-player and co-op experience. GPNVGs, new holsters, a full HRT rework, and more clothing options are in the works. Void stated they are looking into adding more customization in the future to allow the player to change stuff on their character model. Void are also planning to add patches back into the game, possibly tattoos as well, and plan to use them as a way to reward the player for getting good scores and completing objectives. Speaking of customization, something that hasn't been mentioned was weapon customization. I personally would love to see a ground branch style of weapon customization where you can place your attachments where you see fit. Something I'm incredibly glad to hear is that they are not ruling out the use of the Steam Workshop in the future.
So Mod.io is what we're using in the UI right now. We don't have any plans to actively not use anything else. However, before we go and look into that, we want to make sure that Ready or Not supports mods in the way that we've already talked about. By no means are we saying no to anything or yes to anything.
Yeah, we're not locked into anything either, so.
This is awesome, as I and many other players would definitely welcome the use of the Steam Workshop and later developments. Good news for co-op players, there are plans in the works to create dedicated servers and the ability for players to host their own dedicated servers in the future. Having a reliable and always present server to play on is awesome and something I'd love to host in the future. Now we have some huge future gameplay news. Void is tentatively planning on something they call the Los Suenos Commander mode. In this mode, the player will manage a team of operators, some of which will work part-time on patrol. The player will select available operators for missions, which some may become unavailable if they do something wrong out on patrol or if they're off that week. Void stated that this would be a permadeath mode, but more planning needs to be done before they are absolutely sure they want to put this in the full release. I'm thinking they may incorporate some stuff such as a No Man's Sky freighter mechanic where while you're away from the game, operations can occur congruent with real time and earn the player more money for the department or something like that. Either way, super cool concept, and I personally would love to see this as a secondary to the main campaign. Void also mentioned that they plan to have many expansions in the future, featuring various levels and almost a Payday 2 style map system. A new step in the audio design is improving the voice over IP feature. This means the audio from other players in the game will sound more like it's coming from the actual character and interact with the area around them. On that front, Void is working on trying to get footsteps and voice audio reworked through the Fmod engine, which would bring about more location-accurate emissions of sounds. Some sad news is that drones as they were originally implemented may not be seen in the future. This part is a little off-putting to me, as our regional team definitely uses drones all the time, and to not use a tool that's readily available to IRL SWAT teams seems just a bit weird to me. Speaking of tools, there are some new ones coming for all you breachers out there, those being the Sledgehammer, the Halogen tool, and Det Cord, which allows for precision removal of door hinges. Something I'd like Void to consider is having the animations for breaching, well, and most animations in general, be interruptible. As if an IRL breacher starts taking rounds through a door, they aren't going to stick around and get hit, they're going to bail out. Same thing with the resting animations and other stuff like that. Allowing for the player to back out of animations would be incredibly useful and prevent some unnecessary replays just because you start packaging evidence at the wrong time. Void has reconfirmed that pre-planning will be implemented in the lobby before missions start and will be available in-game as well. Void is calling this the Sitrep menu and will be accessible through the tab key. As stated before in my last video, Void is going to be focusing really hard on SWAT AI. Some good news on that front is one of the lead programmers is taking it on as his sole objective for the first 2 months into 2023. One of the features that will be implemented is a secure area command, which will cause the SWAT AI to detain and clear any remaining parts of the room that you're in. The SWAT AI will also utilize their sidearm when their primary runs out of ammunition in a firefight, although they will continue to have infinite ammo in the future. Another behavior talked about is that the AI will actually pie doors before entering them, which is a huge win in my book for adding realism to the SWAT AI. Something I have mentioned in the past is my distaste with the tasers taking up the secondary slot. Well, Void has heard my and many other people's cries and stated that they are going to be moving the taser into the tactical category, which is a solid development. They also mentioned the taser will soon cause the suspect AI to lock up and ragdoll, which is something I also mentioned wanting to see in the past. If I can also add some more of my 2 cents, I'd like to see the taser cables be retained while still embedded in a suspect rather than randomly despawning into the void. Another feature they should consider is if the suspect you've hit runs too far away, then the cables will snap rather than doing their best impression of a mozzarella cheese stick. Having a lights out mechanic such as turning off a breaker box for a building and day/night mode maps are unlikely at this time due to Unreal Engine 4's limitations. To answer your next question, sadly Void is not planning to move to Unreal Engine 5 anytime soon, so UE4's limitations are here to stay for a while. The dev team is playing with the idea of having suspect AI be able to board up or barricade certain doors with objects in a room, such as a mattress over the door to make breaching more difficult. They are also considering having more SWAT AI operators in certain missions contingent upon software constraints. Something mentioned was that the sniper/Overwatch feature may not see a place in the final release, which I'm slightly disappointed about as sniper teams are definitely a thing and are incredibly common to see on callouts. Hopefully, Void will reconsider this as myself and many others would love to have this as a gameplay mechanic in the future. Dev stated that trailers, officers, and advanced TAC med teams that are not in the entry team are planned to be placed in the game to follow the entry team after an allotted time to pick up and escort out detained AI. Void stated it is a possibility they will also be able to engage in combat as well if needed to defend themselves, although they will be in a God mode state. Void does not have any plans internally to implement VR at this time, which is very disappointing, but have played around with it in passing. One of the devs mentioned that it is a possibility that we will see SWAT AI and co-op multiplayer for the future. Shield lights are also being planned and will be added in. Void is planning on making some sweet merch, which is pretty sick. New voice lines are on their way for HRT and all other operators as well. 9 bangs will make return at some point in the future, but you can also get them through mods right now. 2 new gameplay mechanics will feature the ability for the player to call a surrendering AI towards them to expose themselves to hazardous areas, and a shoulder tap mechanic is being considered at this time.
Any possibility of compliant civilian commands?
Yep,
That's planned. Yeah,
that's planned.
probably bundled in with the SWAT AI update when that comes.
Yeah, shoulder tap is something we've talked about, experimented with. It may not see its way in purely because of the fact that there is this it's very niche. But then again, so is the idea of weapon lowering, and then also being able to move quickly. The idea of just weapon lowering being in the game. It's quite niche. So it's not necessarily something that we wouldn't do, but there is very little use for it, I think, a lot of the time. It might be something we add as an unbound feature, or maybe it's part of a greater drop. It might be. I see something like that as, if we do it, a post-release drop.
A huge thank you to Sterling Rank, the COO of Void, who gave the channel a shout out on this front as well.
Because I do think it would be really cool. There's a lot of little things that would be awesome, like hand signals would be really cool as well. Again, you could be like, oh, we have Discord, you don't need hand signals. What if someone just wants to do a non-verbal run, which people have done? Shoulder tapping is pretty important for that. I know Control Pairs has done that, 68's done that. A lot of people have done these runs. Karma's done that, these runs where it's a non-verbal, and they're really cool to see. Would be accentuated by a shoulder tap.
Void, solid stuff. As always, I'm super happy to see player feedback being taken so positively and enthusiastically. I can't wait to see the new updates here soon. But what features would you guys like to see? Leave your suggestions down below. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, and if you want, come join the Discord. Link in the description. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And as always, remember our sole objectives. Stop the killing, stop the dying. I'll see y'all later.